4, 3, 2, 1. KenCast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another KenCast. I'm Ken Cole, your host for today. Thanks for joining us. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, it's a pleasure to have you here. We want to hear your thoughts, either in the live chat or in the permanent comments right below this video. It's great to have you here today. We're having kind of just a fun day talking about speculation. I don't know if you've noticed, but now we have potentially the beginnings of filming of Cobra Kai season 6 sometime in May. Those are the rumors. And so right now, I think online chatter has just increased. This is the last season of Cobra Kai. People are so excited to know what's going to happen. And so speculation season has begun. Everyone has their own ideas of what could happen to finish out this great series. And so today we're going to cover a lot of that. And I want to hear your comments and your thoughts on these things. And then I also have a lot of news. This past week was kind of a birthday week. I slipped out of town, drove up to Las Vegas, had a good time there. I'll show you some photos. Got to meet a Cobra Kai cast member, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, well, I can't wait to get into it all. I am going to just take this moment and say hello to all of you who've joined us. Lisa Barrett, hello. Welcome to see you. Bryce Productions, great to see you as always. RT Gaming Channel. A mod. Well, we'll think about that. Luckily, right now, we're not in the crazy time where we need tons of mods. So, but definitely we'll keep you in mind going forward if we need mods. NASA, good to see you. Big T, it is an honor to have you here with us today, Big T, as it is wherever you show up. It's an honor for everyone else. Thank you for continuing to support this channel. I know there's been some misunderstandings about my loyalty, but as we've all seen through the Save Silver campaign, we want you out of custody as soon as possible. We think that you really didn't do anything wrong. Not really. It's certainly not as much as other people. So we respect you, your fighting ability, your business prowess, your intelligence. So thank you for contributing to our live stream today. Darkest Hour, great to see you. Nerd World, wonderful to see you. Robana, thanks for being a channel member. Robana, hi. Marianella, great to see you. AEH, yes, so many great faces. Courtney, wonderful to see you, Courtney. Relectify. Good morning, Mr. Cole. Good morning, Relectify. I hope you're doing well. I've had a fun week, partial week in Vegas. I'm still kind of like recovering. I've kind of kept the lights low, but it's been a good week and it's wonderful to see you all. NASA. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. I am not sure what I'll do when the series ends. LOL. I know, me too. But you know what? I'm not going anywhere. So if we need to talk about things, I'm here. We're here. And I have a feeling they're going to be making new Miyagi-verse content. So we always have each other. And the great thing is the creators and the people involved in the series, they're fans as well. So even if the series ends, I'm sure they'll just become part of the fandom. It's kind of cool how all that works. And NASA, thanks so much for the super chat. Every dollar helps, guys. And I just want to take this moment to say the best thing you can do to support the channel, it's free, makes you feel good, is subscribe. Subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell. And that is huge. If you want to contribute through super chats, that's fantastic as well. I try, and especially this year, I have some big plans on what I'd like to do for this channel. Equipment, software, all that kind of stuff. Costs money. And so every dollar that you guys contribute to super chats or being a channel member, that's just icing on the cake. It really helps support the channel. Thank you, guys. Ben Metello, great to see you, Ben. Ken, how do you feel about the Bruins in the playoffs? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. We're going to have to do just a separate live stream to talk about Boston sports, 100%. It's wild, in these Cobra Kai and Karate Kid themed live streams. I know there's a lot of focus on New Jersey and the New York kind of area, but Boston, that's a whole new world. So very cool, Ben. Great. Thanks for bringing up Beantown. Really appreciate that. Big T, yes, that's right. Sir Boy of Lard. Hey, Ken and chat. I hope everyone has a good weekend. Some Cobra Kai speculation is a great way to round mine out. How is Vegas? As Nerdworld says, meet a tiger in a hotel room. No, not at all. That's great. Gabe, thanks for joining us at work, but never miss a KenCast. That's okay. Everyone needs KenCast to power through their day. It's a dose of positivity. I know it is for me, just to see all of you guys in the chat and all the great speculations. Jason, wonderful to see you from Facebook. Yes, you do not have to watch on YouTube. You can also watch on Twitter and Facebook, and you can comment on Facebook as well. Melissa Paz, Ken Cole, do you think we might see maybe a Silver spin-off down the line? Well, I sure hope so, Melissa. And we can get into all of that. I'll just say I have so many ideas for Terry Silver personally that I'd love to see. An amazing character, especially, Nick Marini does a great job. But of course, the legendary Thomasine Griffith deserves his own series, I think. Really, really fantastic. Big T, everyone petitioned for the Adventures of Silver and Cole spinoff. That would be fun. And let's get into some news, guys. Yeah, and as you know, this week I have a lot of fun news for you. Let's get right into it.
KenCast News.
Okay, here we go. KenCast. You're watching right now. This is technically now a podcast on YouTube, but it is an official podcast everywhere else, everywhere you listen to podcasts. If you listen to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any place that you listen to podcasts, go follow KenCast, and you can listen on the road wherever you are. You can download episodes. And if you do, go ahead. And if you feel so inclined, leave a 5-star review. It helps a ton in podcast world. Of course, competition is fierce. So your support listening and then also with a review is absolutely fantastic. The latest episode is David Shatraw. Yes, Tom Cole himself. My interview with him is now available just on this YouTube, not just on this YouTube channel, but also via podcast. It's great. It was so exciting to talk with him about the character of Tom Cole, all his other characters that he's played, including Michelangelo in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just absolutely fantastic. Give it a listen if you haven't listened yet. Okay, guys. So a lot of you have been speculating about Julie Pierce. Will she appear in Cobra Kai season 6? A lot of you have brought up the idea that, well, Hilary Swank is pregnant. She's going to have twins. Well, this past week, I think within this past week or two, here you can see Hilary Swank. This is a picture of her. She has her twins now. Isn't that great? Congratulations to Hilary Swank. Very happy times. And of course, the question is, what does this have to do with Cobra Kai season 6? Well, as we're kind of learning right now, they really haven't started filming yet. It looks like rumors are it's going to start filming sometime in May. So, right now, Hilary Swank, I think as long as she wants to appear in Cobra Kai season 6, it looks like it's a possibility. And so that's wonderful. And hopefully there's a way to bring in Julie Pierce. I know I have a few ways that I have in mind, but I'd love to hear what you have to say as well. So, but that's a great bit of news. Okay, guys, I said I went to Vegas, and it's absolutely true. I don't know if you guys saw this on social media, but they have Karate Kid slot machines. They do. You can see that guy. He's like really intense down there in the ball cap. Mr. Miyagi can give you money. Bonsai Trees can give you money. You've got Daniel and Johnny and Allie in there. You also have John Kreese. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's also a boom box. Johnny's boom box is also on there too. So unfortunately, I never saw anyone win anything from this. So it's a really question of discipline. I know Mr. Miyagi would probably say, if you're going to do this, you're going to go all the way, or you're not going to do it at all. If you just go in kind of guess so, you're going to be squished. And I think that tends to happen here on the Karate Kid slot machine. But if you're into gambling, if you got a few extra fun bucks, I think it would be a lot of fun to try. So if you see one, go for it. After that, did a lot of fun things in Vegas, but guess who was there? Guess who was performing in his live comedy show? That's right, Brett Ernst. Brett Ernst, cousin Louie from Cobra Kai, was performing at the Strat. He performs there regularly. If you are in Las Vegas, definitely check out to see if he's performing. I know he tours all around the country. Really funny show. And it's interesting because you can see how, based on his set, his life experience, all his humorous stories that he brought up throughout all his life. And that was the great thing about this show, I think, is that he has his unique life experience growing up in New Jersey and then also in Florida, a unique, fun perspective on life. But even though it's different, it's very relatable. Like, that's the amazing thing about that show. And I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. He is absolutely hilarious. And, he's not just, cousin Louie on Cobra Kai. He's amazing as cousin Louie, but his set goes into so much more than that. Really, truly a great stand-up comic. And I got a chance to meet him right after the show, which was a lot of fun. And he's just so super nice. And to be honest, guys, that is something that I've noticed about the Cobra Kai cast. Everyone I've met so far, super nice, just wonderful people. And they're absolutely wonderful to the fans. And so if you get a chance to meet anyone, I think you're going to be blown away. Everyone just is super nice and humble. And I recommend that to you anytime. And again, yes, if you have the opportunity to see Brett Ernst live, go. You're going to laugh your head off. And if you get a chance to meet him, he's just really, really nice as well. And then I guess before we get into our major discussion today, another 80s tie-in that we've talked about before is the Super Mario Brothers movie. I just want to put this up here. This is on track. This is already, I think, the most successful video game adaptation ever. It's going to be at least one of the top grossing animated movies ever. This is really fantastic. If you're into box office numbers, it only had a drop off of 41% from its opening weekend. It's already almost at $700 million global. This thing is intense. It is doing mad business. And so, it's really fantastic. I think we're going to have a separate KenCast just going into this movie and talking about it and the reactions to it. Because I think, like the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai series, this really ties into a lot of us, who grew up in the 80s and 90s. We are our identities are inseparable from Mario and these games. We spent so many hours playing them as kids, and now we have an adaptation of that. And it's kind of controversial, at least in critics circles. So I think we might get into that. And so that would be absolutely fantastic to talk about. Might have some special guests on here to talk. And it's just absolutely wonderful to see you. Peter Vonasak. Oh my gosh, you just got back from Vegas? Well, I wonder, were you in Vegas? Like, I wonder when. I was there earlier this week. I guess I never mentioned I was in Vegas. Any chance to meet Peter is a great chance. So I think, are going to be talking soon, at least via live stream, at least virtually. Peter, of course, runs Podstalgic and the great Cobra Kai Companion podcast. Wonderful to have you here, Peter. Nerd World says, imagine the Silver spinoff being like Dynasty, but an 80s one. Yes, absolutely. Peter says, be sure to subscribe and rate to help spread the word. Thank you so much, Peter. Really appreciate it. Robana says, I really hope to see Julie in season 6. Yes, she did seem to be a tad bit interested. Right. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's out there, right? She has answered these questions on multiple national shows. They have asked her, are you going to be on Cobra Kai? And she asked, she's been kind of, hey, I don't know. It's kind of been her answer, but it's out there. And so I think that would mean she'd be interested on some level. So we'll see. I think if she's interested, it's going to happen. Max Kelly says the creators better remember to put Bobby Brown in season 6 when they start filming it. I hope so. And we know from at least what Hayden said that this is going to be, if the other seasons were like a meal, this is going to be like Thanksgiving dinner. So I have a feeling that if it's Thanksgiving, what we usually see at Thanksgiving is our family. All the people we don't even normally see throughout the year, we can see them at Thanksgiving. So I'm hoping that almost everyone that we know and love makes an appearance in Cobra Kai season 6, and hopefully some people that we haven't seen yet. And we can talk about who that might be going forward as well. Javier, great to see you, Javier. What if Kenny Payne takes him off Cobra Kai for good because Robbie trained him really bad on the show? Robbie will train Anthony. Yeah. The whole Kenny, Robbie, Anthony dynamic is very fascinating. And there's an article that's talking about different fights that we might see that I'll bring up in a little bit. And we can talk about, are we going to see Kenny go against Anthony, or how does Robbie fit into that? Very fascinating. Thank you very much for your comment, Javier. Relectify says, I have to check those machines out when I go to Vegas this summer. 100% you do. 100%. Peter has some experience with the Karate Kid machine. So yeah, it's no mercy. So it's more of a Cobra Kai machine than a Karate Kid machine, I think. Let's see. Was that a pic of Lindsey Sterling in the background? I don't think so. I don't think I had one. It's possible there could be one in the background, but I don't remember seeing a picture of her in Vegas, at least during this trip. And then Peter has some Vegas advice. Also, if you get to visit Las Vegas, take pictures around Caesar's Palace for those that are excited about Obliterated. Yes, Obliterated is coming up, and Caesar's Palace, at least according to Peter here, is going to be a prominent location in the new Obliterated series from John, Josh, and Hayden, the creators of Cobra Kai. So let's get into our discussion for today. It's interesting. It's about speculation season. Speculation season has started, and what could be in Cobra Kai season 6? People are starting to get restless. So let's get into our discussion.
KenCast discussion.
Okay. Well, what kind of inspired this, Drew, the Cobra Kai kid, was on a live stream, and Hayden popped in. And he said, getting ready for the writer's room. Let me know if there's anything you want us to put in the show, which is awesome. It's so fantastic. And, really, that kind of shows where we are right now. And, I mentioned that I met with, got to meet him briefly, Brett Ernst, and talking to people. And I don't think, and we'll see Peyton List, her interview, but it seems like a lot of even the actors aren't sure yet what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. So it does seem like, at least right now, we're still heavy into the writing phase of Cobra Kai season 6. So anyone's guess is as good as anyone else's. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try and figure out what's going on, try and identify the wild speculation. Do we agree with some of it? Do we not? So let's get into what's going on. Before we do, I want to say thank you to Clifford. Thank you so much for the super chat, supporting the channel. He says, I think the writers gave us a clue about season 6. Remember how Robbie found Kenny? Interesting. That's fascinating, Clifford. I'm interested to hear you explain more about your theory if you want to, or maybe it'll come up naturally when we start talking about what's going to happen. Max Kelly says, tell Hayden Schlossberg that they should try to offer Chad McQueen $250,000 for him to return his Dutch for the last season. Hey, I have a feeling that, of course, we know that the big three are not only amazing creators and writers, they're also really smart. And I think they have done an amazing job of bringing back all these legacy actors. And I bet they are thinking of any way they can to try to convince Chad McQueen to come back if he wants to. But if he doesn't want to, of course, there's not much they can do. But I think we'd all love to see Dutch again. I know that's one of the top requests for Cobra Kai, is to see Dutch again. So let's dive into some of this stuff. So based on that, we know that this is speculation season. Let's look at some articles here. Here's one. This is on Screen Rant, and the title is Cobra Kai's Tori actor reveals what she expects from the final season. And so this is a whole article that's talking about an interview she recently gave about School Spirits, which is her Netflix series. But this part in the gray box, this is her quote. Let's read it together. I haven't heard it all yet. I just know that whatever they do will be something I won't predict, and I'll be satisfied with it. They gave me the most fun storylines, so I'm excited. I'm grateful to have something like that to look forward to and to get back to. They're going to be training us a lot, so that will be fun. So so that's really interesting. This is kind of another piece of evidence that they might still really be in the writing phase. They haven't shared much about what's going to happen in season 6, even with some of the lead actors and actresses. And so we really see that she is going to be. She still has yet to train. They do a lot of physical training and fighting training, and you know, so we'll see. Supposedly May is about when they're going to start shooting, and maybe we'll learn more going forward. But yeah, it appears that Peyton List and then also Brett Ernst, not sure yet, can't really say exactly what might be happening with Cobra Kai season 6. So let's jump into this. Here's another Screen Rant article. So this is a speculation, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. The title of this article is Cobra Kai's season 6 timeline makes the show's age problem even worse. So I think this is kind of coming from the idea that, we saw Xolo Maridueña back in season 1, and he seemed, if you look back, he seems a lot younger than he is right now, even though basically everything that's happened has been really within 2 years. Everything has been very compressed in time, according to the show, but it in real life has gone on years. I mean, it'll be over 6 years by the time it's come out. And so this article thinks that the age problem kind of negatively affects the show. And they say Cobra Kai season 6's timeline placement has been confirmed, and it makes the show's age problem for its younger cast and characters even worse. So yeah, we can see, here's a tweet from John Hurwitz. He says, similarly, season 6 of Cobra Kai begins roughly a year after our season 2 finale. Time moves slowly in the Miyagi-verse. Right. And, that's smart too, because, everything that's happening in the show, it's still before the pandemic and kind of things changed and everything. So at least according to the show, we don't have to really worry about, lockdowns and people in masks and how do we deal with that. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But my question to you, is this a problem? Cobra Kai's timeline has created a big age gap between characters and actors. Does it bug you that the actors are getting much older than the characters that they're playing? They're still playing high school characters, at least the younger actors. Does it bug you that they're older than high school now? Or does that even matter? I think it's something that we don't care about. I think it's we suspend disbelief about these things because we know that people age. What matters is that we have the same actors, I think, playing these great roles, and that we're able to sort of believe in them and believe in their story. And to me, I don't think it really matters. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it's just the vibe of the show to me is very much, it's fun. It's, not supposed to be totally realistic. It's kind of a fantasy thing. And so I know sometimes they write these articles because they, kind of want to stir something up. They want to have some kind of think piece about what's going on. And I don't know. It could be part of the reason why they started ending, the show now. They're doing the final season. Maybe from everyone's perspective, everyone's getting a bit older. If it's been, 6-7 years since the beginning of when this was starting to be produced, even the original cast, they're not getting any younger either. So I don't know, maybe that all factored into why the show is ending now. But for me, I don't think it's necessarily an age problem. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Let's see. Robana says, yeah, I believe Anthony was supposed to be 10 when the series started. Now the character's 14, but Griffin is 16. Right. it's kind of that's especially a tough age. You do a lot of growing between 10 and 16, and so that's kind of tough to pull off. But does it matter? It's kind of like I remember people bringing up in the Rocky movies, in Rocky 5, Rocky Jr., all of a sudden was like 4 years older than he was in Rocky 4, even though they occur right next to each other. But does anyone care? I don't even know. Robbie Keene says, "Hey, Ken, I was wondering when the next writer's room is." Right now, the next writer's room, I think, is going to be happening on Friday. So definitely stay tuned to the Cobra Kai Kids channel and my channel. And we are going to be getting into our pitches for what will happen in season 6. So we're talking about wild speculation today. We will be talking about what we think should happen in season 6. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Jacob says, no, it doesn't. Yes, I agree. How you doing, MOTU Thunder? Great to see you. Good to see you, Kim. Morgan says Ralph Macchio was in his late 20s playing a 17-year-old Daniel. So no, I don't think it's an issue. And I think you put the perfect pin on that, because that's what this whole series, that's what this whole universe is built on. Really, it's that classic performance of Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso. And he was already in his 20s in the very first Karate Kid movie, playing a 17, 18-year-old kid. And he did that from 1984 to 1989. So he was playing, I think he was 29 years old in Karate Kid 3, and he was playing an 18-year-old. And we're able to believe it. So I think that's amazing precedent for the Cobra Kai series. And that's why I don't think the age thing is a problem in the show. Don't worry about it. I think we've all accepted it. Nothing to really worry about. Sir Boy of Lard says, I don't think it bothers those of us who grew up with the original Power Rangers and 90210 too much. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. How old was Luke Perry again when he was in that show? I know, it's so funny. They run those reruns of 90210 on Pluto TV. Sometimes my wife has it on, and it's so funny looking at that show because those actors are so much older than high school, but everyone just accepts it. And that's a classic Hollywood thing, by the way, having 20 somethings, maybe even 30 somethings occasionally playing high school kids. And we had some humorous conversation about that with the Last Row podcast when we were talking about the next Karate Kid. The actor who plays Eric, he looked like he was really old, but in the movie he's a high school kid. So I think we're good with that. Melissa says, Ken Cole, I have a very good feeling that Sam and Tori will be learning a lot from each other, both in fighting and their backgrounds. And if Sam does win the Sekai Taikai, it'll be because of Tori. Yeah. And I think one of the things the show has done so well is they've set up these rivalries, but also at the same time, these characters, they might not realize it, but they have a lot of things in common. And we can kind of sense that over time, they may actually become very good friends. And if they're able to get over their differences, that bond will probably be very strong. And that's something that I'd really love to see, given Amanda's, charity toward Tori. It would be nice if Sam and Tori actually became good friends. There's probably a lot they could learn from each other. And that's an interesting question. Will Sam win the Sekai Taikai? Will she fight in the Sekai Taikai? We can talk about that and those kinds of possibilities. What a great comment. Thank you, Melissa. Bryce Production says, Hayden came on one of Cobra Kai Kid's recent streams and asked if he thinks Snake and Dennis will help Terry in season 6. And Cobra Kai Kid asked Hayden if he knows what Jonathan is up to now. And he said, no comment. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of out there. And I think the news broke on my interview with William Christopher Ford, which I'm looking forward to doing some more things with, who played Dennis in Karate Kid 3, that he's been very hard to find. Jonathan Alvinson's been very hard to find. Jonathan Alvinson played Snake in Karate Kid 3. He's the son of the director of the first 3 Karate Kid movies. And he's been very hard to find. And so that's the question. Are we going to see Snake and Dennis again? And if we can't find Jonathan, will we at least just see Dennis, William Christopher Ford, come back? But I'm wondering if they're trying to figure that out right now. I know if anyone can do it, the resources of Sony, the big 3, and Netflix, I'm sure they could try to find him. and I hope Jonathan would be up for it. It would just be amazing to see Snake and Dennis again, 100%. Thank you, Bryce, for letting us know. Let's see. Kim, when's the next writer's room? Friday, guys. Right now it's Friday. So we're going to be pitching our story ideas for season 6. So definitely tune in, follow this channel, follow the Cobra Kai Kid, and we'll be talking about all of that. Nerd World, they should make a timeline for promotion for season 6. Yeah, I agree. I think they probably will once shooting starts. Once they kind of know what's happening, I think they'll start planning out. The marketing department will start planning out what's going to happen and how they're going to start promoting season 6. So yes, very much looking forward to that. Robana says there are many soap operas that have a baby one episode and the next the baby's like 16. So I guess soap opera times. Yeah. And they've referred to Cobra Kai as kind of a karate soap opera. So I think that makes so much sense. Christian Crow, great to see you, Christian. We're so far out of the realm of realism within Cobra Kai, it doesn't matter. Right. And honestly, I'm getting older. Them getting older just gives it all a bit more gravitas, at least for me. Thanks for your streams, kid. Thank you, Christian. It's always great to see you. Christian, of course, if you don't know, guys, Christian is an amazing talent. He cuts trailers, he does music, he does artwork, and we are very much looking forward to seeing everything that Christian is working on coming up soon. So thank you for stopping by, Christian. It is always an honor to have you on here. Kim says, Ken just finished watching Peyton List series School Spirits, enjoyed it. Y'all support Lady P, aka Tori Nichols. Yeah, definitely. Peyton List is just so talented, and it's great to see her on these shows and having all the success. And of course, School Spirits is right now available on Netflix. I know the Cobra Kai Companion site and podcast, they've been doing reviews of School Spirits. So definitely check those out as well. Robbie Keene says, I would like Cobra Kai to end with Miyagi Fang winning the Sekai Taikai, and the ending battle could be a big battle between Miyagi Fang and Cobra Kai students and senseis in the Sekai Taikai arena. Yeah, I mean, there's so many amazing possibilities. I love your idea, Robbie. And this idea that the senseis will be fighting is really interesting. And I can't help but wonder if that's kind of an idea from the movie Sidekicks with Chuck Norris and Jonathan Brandis. They had the senseis part of the competition, which was a lot of fun to see Joe Piscopo go up against Chuck Norris in that. But I love that idea, and I think that opens up a lot of great possibilities for the Sekai Taikai, and also closing some of those great storylines in the Cobra Kai series. So thank you for your comment, Robbie. Really, really appreciate it. So many wonderful comments, guys. Let me get back to another article. We are, because this is kind of another speculation piece, and we'll see if you guys agree with this. This is from Screen Rant, and it says Cobra Kai season 5 sets up 5 huge fights to end the series. Okay, guys. So now we need to know what you think. Do you think that the fights we're about to see in this article are fights that we want to see in Cobra Kai season 6? Let's go down and take a look. So they kind of do this nice intro. Okay, so sorry for the ads here. The 5th one, or number 5, is Kreese versus Daniel and Johnny. Okay, so and we can read the blurb and kind of like the history, but of course we know the history of these characters. Obviously, Johnny and Daniel have already fought Kreese. Kreese was kind of screwed over by them in prison. Daniel said that he would give him legal assistance, but he didn't. He said F you, basically. And now Kreese has escaped from jail. I don't know. I could see this happening. I don't know if it would be like as prominent a set piece as previously. But the thing is, we've already seen this. We've seen Kreese fight Johnny multiple times. We have seen Kreese fight Daniel. And of course, Daniel used his special secret Miyagi-Do technique to basically make Kreese's limbs go numb. And so at that point, Kreese wasn't able to compete with Daniel. So I don't know. It's possible, although I want to say that we've kind of seen this before. So I don't know. It's not one of my top anticipated fights, but of course it might make sense story wise. Mitch versus Chris. Yeah, what's really interesting about this situation is that Cobra Kai is kind of in disarray at this time. We saw Mitch switch sides, Penis Breath switch sides to be sort of a snitch for Cobra Kai. We had that great reveal at the end of season 5. But, you know, after that, Terry Silver lost. Everyone was throwing T-shirts in Terry Silver's face, and it seemed like the Cobra Kai students didn't quite know what to do. So, what's going to happen? I mean, I'm sure that Mitch and Chris have, a beef, but is it really going to lead to fighting, or is Mitch going to change his ways? Would Chris try to actually reason with Mitch at this point? I don't know. I don't think this is a foregone conclusion that they would fight each other in the future. Although, I think it's definitely a possibility. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you looking forward to a Mitch versus Chris fight? Let's move on. Okay, so the author says they're looking forward to a Kreese versus Chosen fight. Now, this would be very interesting. Of course, Chosen had the unforgettable battle with Terry Silver with weapons at the end of Cobra Kai season 5. Would Chosen be fighting Kreese? I guess it really just depends on what happens with the story. But I think Kreese is kind of in an awkward position right now because obviously he's running from the law. We don't know what the results of that will be. If is he even going to stay in the United States? Is he going to flee? Is something going to happen with Kim Da-eun? Is she going to get Kreese away from the United States, maybe to South Korea? So he really can't be touched, and then maybe pop up again at the Sekai Taikai. We don't know, but it seems like at this point it would make sense for Kreese to stay hidden. I don't know if Kreese needs to. It's interesting because they really don't have much of a direct relationship, and so they could fight, and I think it would be exciting, but it'd be interesting to see how that would work. Anyway, so let me know, do you think Kreese versus Chosen can happen? Now, here's an interesting one: Kenny versus Anthony. As we know, Anthony has started studying his father's Cobra Kai, or I'm sorry, Cobra Kai. Miyagi-Do, please don't tell Daniel I said that. That might have been a Freudian slip in favor of Terry Silver, of course. But obviously we have a bullying situation. Kenny has been bullying Anthony. Anthony has been on the receiving end of a lot. Some might say justified from his behavior in season 4. But the question is, are they going to fight? I think so far of all the fights that were listed in this article, this one seems like it's most likely to happen. The animosity is not going away between these guys. There's a lot of history here, and it seems like given their attitudes, the best way to solve this may be through a fight. So at this point, hopefully, Anthony, if he's on the right side of morality now, will try to avoid the fight, but also be able to meet with Kenny with some actual fighting skills from a defensive position. And hopefully Anthony will have the right attitude and not necessarily a no mercy attitude. But I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. Are you looking forward to a Kenny versus Anthony fight? And then, oh yes, now this one is interesting: Kreese versus Terry Silver. We have not seen these two fight yet. We have seen an almost fight, kind of like a sparring almost, happen in season 4. But we know that Kreese is probably very angry with Terry Silver right now. Terry, we don't know what's going to happen with him. He's been taken into custody. Me and a lot of my colleagues think that Terry Silver is not guilty, and other people are far more guilty than he is, and that Terry Silver's likely to get out of jail very quickly. Because he knows the DA, who might be Willie Cole still. The Coles, good people to have on your side. But that's something that I think could be within the realm of possibility. We don't know what Terry's going to do, and we don't know what Kreese is going to do. Terry gets out of jail, he's still potentially not involved with Cobra Kai, or his name has been sullied with Cobra Kai. We know that Kim Da-eun owns 50%, so she might do something with Cobra Kai. She might want to go to the Sekai Taikai to help her grandfather's legacy continue. John Kreese probably might be looking for revenge, so he might track Terry Silver down and look for a fight. I don't know. It's fascinating. So I don't know. Let's see what you guys think about all of this. First off, I definitely want to bring up, thank you, NASA, the $20 super chat. Thank you. Help support the channel. NASA says, Mr. Miyagi forgives you for misspeaking regarding Kenny. Yes, that's right. Sorry. I've got a one-track mind, so I'm very fortunate that Mr. Miyagi would be very forgiving of that. I don't know if that would be the same if the situation was reversed. So thank you, NASA. I really appreciate that. Kim says, save Silver. Yes, save Silver. I got to see a Silver versus Kreese fight. Yes, that would be, I think that would be interesting. And here's my question to you. If Terry Silver and John Kreese fought and they got it all out, do you think it's possible they could come to an understanding? Do you think that their toxic relationship, some might say dynotoxic relationship, get it, comes to a head and they're able to fight it out through conflict? Do you think their relationship over the years could survive that and they could actually team up and become friends again? Do you think that's possible? Or do you think that that's it? I would love to see a Terry Silver versus John Kreese fight. That would be fascinating. Robbie Keene says, save Silver. Yes, save Silver. I agree. We got to make sure he does not go to prison, guys. Call your representatives. If you've seen the commercial, we're starting this movement to save Terry Silver. Yes, Robbie Keene. I think the Sekai Taikai is in Korea. Yeah. And so that might be, if that's the case, it's definitely international. Kreese might be heading out of the country as soon as possible to get away from law enforcement. So it's possible that Kreese won't come into contact with anyone else until the Sekai Taikai. We don't know that, though. Maybe Kreese will be exonerated somehow. Maybe Terry Silver will, him being humbled, maybe he'll go back and help John Kreese out and get his record expunged. I don't know. We'll see. We can speculate. It's wild speculation. That's what we're doing today, right? So let's hear what you guys have to say. Seth says, Anthony, Kenny, probably so. Yeah, I think that's definitely very likely. That might even be the most likely of all the fights that we might see. Let's see. Clifford says, Ken Cole would chosen complete Julia's training because we don't know how far she is in Miyagi-Do. That's a really great question. We don't know much about Julie except from the next Karate Kid. We know that when she started training, she was much more advanced than Daniel. She'd actually been training with her father, who taught her karate, passed down from Mr. Miyagi and his service with her grandfather. So when Miyagi started training Julie, she was already much more advanced than Daniel was. So what happened after the events of the next Karate Kid? Did Julie continue to study with Mr. Miyagi? How long did Mr. Miyagi stay there? Do Daniel and Julie Pierce know each other? It seems like they do. I think that's been confirmed. And there are a number of ways they could know each other. But obviously, I'm sure that Mr. Miyagi, being almost sort of a surrogate father figure for her, there was a wonderful relationship in the next Karate Kid. She might have visited him numerous times down in the San Fernando Valley. And I'm sure she would have met Daniel. And they probably would have a lot to talk about. And yeah, I think it's possible that she would be very receptive to training from Chosen. Although she might be very good herself. We'll see. I would love to see all these characters meet. It would be absolutely fantastic. Melissa says, yes, we need a Kreese versus Silver. I mean, even without saying it, they pretty much set it up from season 4 onward. Yeah. There's got to be some resolution to that. There's a lot of tension between those two. And it seems like the way they resolve tension is fighting. So I think, yeah, Seth says bet on it. Absolutely. Kim says, yay, Silver versus Kreese. Absolutely. Darkest Hour says, Kreese defeats Silver so Johnny can go on to destroy the Death Star. And all the little Cobra Kai to celebrate at the end. That's funny. Well, and guys, it's funny this crossover between the Miyagi verse and Star Wars. I did make a video kind of comparing how well Cobra Kai continued the legacy of the Karate Kid universe compared to maybe how not so well the Star Wars, the Disney Star Wars has maybe not so well continued the legacy of the old Star Wars. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of both of those. That's a lot of fun. Nerdworld says, I want Terry versus Kreese, but while fighting, switching actors, Barrett and Nick, Thomas and Martin. Oh, interesting. You know, Ken Cole, like in season 5 prison fight. Yeah, that would be really interesting. Although any chance to see Thomas Ian Griffith fight is amazing. Like he's such a good martial artist, as we saw at the end of season 5 in Cobra Kai. So, but they've set up precedent. They've set up the flashbacks, right? Studying under Master Kim Sun Young with young Kreese and young Terry Silver. So it's possible that they could have a fight, and thematically that might go back to a decades old competition. And so thematically that can make a lot of sense. I like it. Very good. Thank you. Robbie Keene says Silver isn't guilty. Yes, we got to keep pushing that home, guys. We got to keep pushing that home. Jaws, great to see you. Hi, Big K. Hi, how's it going? You honor me, sir. I think Kreese will die at the end after years of rumors and saga about his death, and Cobra Kai dies. If Kreese saves Johnny before Kreese would die, maybe John Kreese will redeem. It's an interesting thought. I think that's something that everyone has predicted and kind of wanted, is sort of a redemption arc for John Kreese. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that maybe Kreese doesn't need to be fully redeemed, but maybe it's a point where there's like respect and, you know, he's not an enemy so much anymore. That doesn't necessarily change him from a good guy or from a bad guy to a good guy fully, but it would be interesting if we get to that point of understanding. Now, about him dying, a lot of people have wondered if he would die. I don't know if they would do that. It's interesting because I think that's tricky. If you look at other legacy series, which I have to point out, Star Trek Picard season 3 right now, if you're a fan of Star Trek The Next Generation, season 3 in and of itself is a wonderful legacy sequel to the series, the Next Generation series. And Jonathan Frakes has already come out, and I don't think this is a spoiler because he said it publicly. It's like, you don't have to worry about anyone dying in the finale, any of these classic characters dying in the finale. And I think there's power to that. I think at the end of the day, it's possible that we could see John Kreese die or one of these other characters die. And they've certainly teased us with that. But at least from my own perspective, story-wise, if you don't have to kill characters, I don't think it's worth doing it. Because what if you want to bring Kreese back in some capacity? What if there's a spinoff and it would make sense for Kreese to be there? What if Kreese is somewhat changed a bit? Something happens. Maybe he's not as no mercy anymore. Would it be interesting to see that version of Kreese going forward in new spinoffs? It could be. And once you kill the character, you know, and it's not science fiction. Once you kill the character, that's it. So I don't know. Of course, if they do end up, you know, killing John Kreese, I think they would probably do a very good job. I'm sure he'd have a wonderful death scene. I just don't know. I don't know if Cobra Kai is the right series to kill off major characters. It's not like Game of Thrones necessarily. It's not like any of these huge, big, dramatic series. It has that lightness to it. I don't know, but you know, Jaws, that's a really good point, and I know a lot of people suspect that Kreese may kick the bucket. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Cobra Kai Nerd says, I'm kind of bored. We didn't get any season 6 news. Well, here's the news so far. I don't know if you saw my news segment, but we saw that Peyton List doesn't know what's going to happen yet in Cobra Kai season 6. We know that Hayden Schlossberg and the writers room are still writing season 6. We know that I saw Brett Ernst in Las Vegas this past weekend, and he said he doesn't know anything yet about his character or when they're shooting or anything like that. So that's the news. I think the news is right now the writers are writing, and that's it. We don't know. That's why we're in the zone of wild speculation. So that's the best we can do right now. Seema says Terry Silver should have called the police, and then he wouldn't be in the wrong. He knew they were there before getting to his house. Right. And I think for sure Terry Silver is going to pull up all of that security cam footage. He has everything covered. And so that's why I think he'll be out of jail very quickly. But I think that's a good point. But the thing is, Terry Silver is very well connected with the law enforcement, with the district attorney, who might be Willie Cole, the same one from Karate Kid 3. So, he's probably not sweating it too much. Probably what's bugging him, this is just my guess, is just the fact that it's kind of humiliating. The situation's a bit humiliating for him. I think legally he'll get out pretty quickly, but yes. So great comment. Thank you so much. Let's see. What do we have here? I want to thank you guys for all your amazing comments. I'm trying to get to all of them. NASA, thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, every dollar helps. I really appreciate your support. Thank you. If you want to help support this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. Totally free. Hit the like button and the notification bell. Makes a huge difference. And thank you very much. Also, right now, there is a KenCast podcast. If you want to listen on your own anywhere else, go follow that podcast on any platform that you listen to your podcast. And if you're willing, give us a 5-star review. That's a huge deal in the world of podcasts. And I thank you. Thank you so much. NASA, thank you, says, I don't think Kreese is going to die. If that were to happen, I think it would have happened already. The Netflix YouTube switch saved Kreese. Fascinating idea, NASA. Fascinating. And, I think there you might have a point, because they really, really teased Kreese's death very hard in the season finale of Cobra Kai season 5. That was a huge fake out. And Drew, the Cobra Kai kid, has said that was the point he almost quit the series. He couldn't take it, seeing John Kreese die like that. Of course, he didn't die, but I don't know. They may have already kind of played that tease before, and I think that's a really good point, NASA. Thank you so much for your comment, and I love that's intriguing. The Netflix YouTube switch saved Kreese. Interesting. Yeah. And the thing is, Martin Kove is so amazing. I love when he's around. And I'd love to see more of him in the future, 100%. Christian says, what do you think the chances are of Miguel's father being a martial artist himself, and that he joins the Sekai Taikai with his own organization? Imagine Johnny ending up fighting Miguel's father. That's fascinating, because we know that Hector he's out there. He probably knows who Miguel is, because Miguel left his backpack there. And would he do that? He runs like sort of an MMA ring in Mexico. So would he enter the Sekai Taikai? What lengths would he go to get Miguel back, to maybe, I hate to say it, but get revenge on Carmen in that whole situation? Because that's something that was important to him, was family. And Carmen took Miguel away from Hector. So what's going to happen? I think you bring up a really excellent point, Christian. I hadn't thought about that. Him actually going and entering the Sekai Taikai. He could. He's got the muscle. 100%. The Batman says, I agree. I wouldn't mind Kreese living beyond Cobra Kai season 6, but if he dies, he needs a good written death like Vader. Right. And that's a lot of creatives, a lot of people who do these, worked on these series, like even the Star Trek series or these other series that kill off major legacy characters. That's the thing. That's what they say, has to be done well. You have to do it well, because I think we've seen in other series and movies, sometimes certain legacy characters get killed off and it's not quite right. And it leaves fans very disappointed. And I think that's one of the worst things about a well-loved character. If the death isn't quite right, if it doesn't make sense, if it feels like it was done just for a maybe 5-minute shock value in terms of does it really serve the story and the character, him or herself, that really leaves a lasting bitter taste for fans. And I'm sure each of you have instances of that where you've been kind of dissatisfied with the end of a favorite character. Melissa, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Melissa says, Sam and Tori might never be friends, but I'm looking forward to seeing them learn how to work together. Despite that, and learning to respect each other, not all rivalries will end in friendship. That's a really good point. It's this idea that maybe they can come to an understanding at least. They don't have to be best friends, but they can come to an understanding and help each other. And I think that's probably very similar to what we saw Daniel and Johnny go through throughout the Cobra Kai series. They necessarily weren't the best of friends. Maybe they're now not even the best of friends, although they do seem to be kind of better friends now. But through a lot of the series, they were working together, but they weren't really great friends. They were kind of they came to an understanding and were able to help each other. And so maybe we can see all of that happen in season 6 going forward. Thank you so much, Melissa. That's a wonderful comment. Big T says you can say The Last Jedi. It's fine, right? So that's another series I think a lot of people maybe had problems with. You know, obviously Mark Hamill, I think himself had problems with how Han Solo died in The Force Awakens. That everyone who saw him die only knew him for 5 minutes, basically, and that none of the original characters were there to be there with him when he died. Anyway, we go on into that, but Luke Skywalker dying, was that I know a lot of fans. I'll ask you guys as Star Wars fans, was that an adequate death for Luke Skywalker? I don't know. The thing is, it's like if you don't do it right, and if it feels off and wrong, it can kind of ruin your feelings toward the character. So I think, of course, luckily with Cobra Kai, we have amazing writers. And if they were to do that, I think they understand the importance of doing that the right way. Clifford says, Ken Cole, aside from Silver, which character do you think has been so awesome that they need their own personal theme? Well, Zach Robinson and Leo Birenberg do such an incredible job. And they've already given so many amazing themes to characters. And I encourage everyone to listen to the soundtracks for Cobra Kai. You listen to the soundtracks and you realize that music is one of the reasons you absolutely love the series. And that listening to any of that music, just it's like watching the show again in a different way. And it pumps you up. It gets you in a great mood. Really, really wonderful. And so, I don't know, the character has been so awesome that they need their own personal theme. It's really tough. I will say this, though. I think the cat's out of the bag that Joe Esposito has a version of a new song, a completely new song for Johnny. That's his version of You're the Best Around. And I don't know if that's going to be a part of Cobra Kai season 6. The story might not call for that, but I think that would be amazing for Johnny to get his own song. That would be cool. I think that would make a lot of sense for the series, and would go along with the themes of the show 100%. We've got David Kelly. Good to see you, David. Is Julie Pierce officially returning now since she's already had her babies? No. We have had no official word on any of that. And my guess is if they can keep it quiet, they will. They may even limit, the number of people who are with her on set. I don't know. But I bet that is going to be a thing they will try to keep hidden as long as possible until the right moments in the marketing campaign. You could see it right now. The first hint we get for sure might be just like a tease or a silhouette or something, some hint that it's Julie Pierce, maybe for a few frames in a trailer or something like that. Because I think that will be a big part of the promotional engine for the show. 100%. So we don't know yet. I think the one thing we do know is that if she doesn't come back, I think it will be because for whatever reason she doesn't want to. I think probably they would love to have her as part of the series, and it seems like she's willing, but I think that would be it. Like, I think if she wants to come back, she will. That's my guess. I don't have any special knowledge there, but um, Big T says, amazing writers who need to spring me out of jail. Yeah, 100%. NASA can't. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. NASA says, do you think Johnny and Daniel? I do think Johnny and Daniel became friends. I think the fact that Daniel went to see Johnny after Amanda left shows that. Left him shows that. Johnny talked sense into him. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they have finally become friends, good friends. They respect each other. And I think they know they can rely on each other, and they've been through battles together. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to in season 6 is the continuing development of their friendship. So that's a great comment. Thank you, NASA. I really appreciate it. Kim says, Big T, you are too fine. There you go, Big T. See, you get great compliments here. This is the right chat to hang out in. Batman says, any chance we'll see a rematch between Silver and Johnny? Yeah, actually, I think that's a really good point. That's been very much, I mean, that was a cheap shot. He basically ambushed Johnny by surprise. And I think you saw that even in season 5 in the elevator scene with Johnny and Carmen and Terry Silver. There's that animosity that Johnny is just raring to go. So I think if there's an opportunity and a reason, Johnny would definitely go after Terry Silver again. But he's got to be careful. Terry is really good, as we've seen. Sean says, will John Kreese turn good in season 6? And what's his intentions for everybody? Yeah, it's a lot of people want this. They want this redemption for John Kreese. It may happen, but it might be more of a thing where he maybe comes to an understanding with everyone. Like, would a redemption basically be him saying, I'm sorry, I'm not No Mercy anymore? I don't know. That would be a huge character change. It's possible. But maybe it might be more of a respect where it's a sort of a detente. He's not going after Miyagi again. He has no animosity. He doesn't regard them as enemies, but he's still John Kreese. So maybe it's something like that. We don't know his intentions yet, though, because he just got out of jail. He doesn't know that there's maybe controversy about whether he committed that crime or not. So we'll see. It's tough to know his intentions right now. Nerd World says, I always had this theory that Carmen, Miguel, and the grandmother are in some kind of witness protection. Could be. I mean, we saw Hector. It's a great point. We saw him in season 5. He was very concerned about the United States federal government coming after him, the DEA or, the FBI, I guess, the female body inspectors that Robbie and Johnny were. But it's a great point. They may have given the U.S. government some information on Hector, and basically in return put them in some kind of witness protection program. I don't know. We haven't had any hint of that, but that's a really interesting point, Nerd World, and I think that's something definitely worth thinking about and worth exploring. I like it. We're into speculation today, guys. That's what we're doing. Sasha David says, how likely do you see that Kreese may hide with another old war buddy of his, Colonel Dugan? Ooh, if you guys follow the script writing that I'm doing with Cobra Kai Kid Drew, we're coming up with the story for season 6. We're going to be coming up with story pitches, and I've had this thought that Kreese may somehow go to Colonel Dugan for help. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you saw that I suggest that Colonel Dugan was actually in that POW camp with John Kreese and Terry Silver in the flashback. That Colonel Dugan was the one who Terry Silver asked, how deep is that pit? After this character had just killed his comrade over the pit of snakes, and was just absolutely in shock. And so I theorized that character could be Colonel Dugan. And if that's the case, then Colonel Dugan is directly tied to Terry Silver and John Kreese. And it is possible that Kreese may reach out to Colonel Dugan for help. That would probably be a moment that they remember very well, John Kreese and Terry Silver, the moment when one of their soldiers had to kill another fellow soldier in that forced combat duel to the death. So interesting. I don't know if that's the way they were going with that, but that's at least an idea I had. Let's see. Darkest Hour, the Sweep the Leg band shows up at Johnny's door with a new song. He stares and slams the door in their face, fade to black. Song plays over the credits. That's amazing. No More Kings. Sweep the Leg. Guys, if you haven't heard it yet, it's such a fun song by No More Kings. And you can watch the music video, which was directed by William Zabka, and it has pretty much all the original actors from The Karate Kid. For us fans around, I think it was 2007 that came out, that was it as far as new content for us to enjoy. It was just this amazing event and morsel that we could see sort of an updated version of the Cobras and Daniel and John Kreese, kind of in this Johnny Lawrence fantasy. It's really funny. And I think a lot of the ideas from that music video wound up becoming true in the Cobra Kai series. So I love that reference, Darkest Hour. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh, NASA, thank you so much for your super chats. Thank you for the $10. Every bit helps. Thank you so much. Do you think the post from Chad McQueen's daughter was a head fake and Dutch comes in? I could see Johnny going to see Dutch in jail and saying, Johnny, I see you brought our little friend Danielle. I know. I think everyone is begging for that. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the reasons why Chad McQueen might not want to be a part of the series. I know that Martin Kove I think he was on a interview on Collider, could be wrong, but he basically said that even in season 2, they approached Chad McQueen and said, hey, do you want to be part of the show? And, Chad McQueen said no. And then Martin Kove, reached out to Chad McQueen and said, hey, there's a part for you. We're all going to be part of it. Do you want to join? He's trying to convince him. And then Chad just basically didn't want to do it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a money thing or maybe he's just completely moved on from acting. His interests are in different areas now. We'll see. Maybe it's different now that it's such a phenomenal show and the quality is so good. And it would be a hell of an entrance to come in the last season. Maybe there's some way that they could convince him to be part of the show, and that would be absolutely fantastic. But if he can't, I think that's a great place to put him is in prison because, yeah, he had that mentality. Thank you so much, NASA. Really appreciate your comment. Jaws says, for me, Julie Pierce has 99% probabilities to appear in Cobra Kai. I think I'd agree. I think it's very likely that she's going to be in Cobra Kai season 6. And which is going to be cool. And I've got some ideas for how she could be in season 6. They're probably hashing that out right now. Sam, I can't wait for season 6. Yes, it's going to be fantastic. I know a lot of us can't wait. Oh, Jennifer, good to see you, Jennifer. Wonderful to see you. It's been a minute, but finally was able to join back in for a live. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. We're going to start to, I think, have more of these lives. And so I'll throw up some polls where you guys can vote what days you want to have live streams. So because I know a lot of people right now, seems to be the time when the most people can get online and join the conversation. But I'm very open to having, at least here in the United States, having live streams during the week in the evenings during the week, maybe there are some other times on the weekend, but I'd love to hear from everyone who has a chance to join us here in the live stream. Let's see. Jennifer asks, I think Mike might have been somewhere up north. Maybe I only say that because he said, thanks for flying me down here, Mr. Silver. Yeah, that was the idea, I think, in Karate Kid 3 is that Mike was from someplace else, not LA. But it's interesting in the Cobra Kai series, he's actually moved to LA. Agora Hills, I think. So that's really interesting. Mike Barnes's story and what he's going to do in Cobra Kai season 6. He's gotten himself into a lot of trouble too. And I think I'm going to be releasing a video this week talking about the possibility of Mike Barnes working with Kim Da-eun already in season 5. I think the evidence is there, guys. So we'll see what you guys have to say about that. Marianella says, do you think there is a Barney cameo from How I Met Your Mother? Many say that the series came from one of those episodes where William and Ralph appear. You know, I think if the parties involved want it to happen, it will. I think it depends on how faithful they want to be to the worlds, because um Barney, in How I Met Your Mother, William Zabka was William Zabka, and Ralph Macchio is Ralph Macchio. So in this, they're playing, obviously, Cobra Kai, they're playing fictional characters. So would Barney interact with, a fictional Daniel LaRusso or Johnny Lawrence? I don't know. I don't know if that's a weird crossover or not, but we'll see. Absolutely, that would be amazing. I think we're going to have a major celebrity cameos this season. 100%. I think this is going to be a season for cameos. You could have, Andrew Garfield. I bet he's going to be part of it. He's a huge fan. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw Sylvester Stallone somehow. Keep in mind that it takes place in the Valley, which is, around LA. It'd be a place where movie stars would live. So they could run into movie stars. What would happen if Johnny Lawrence ran into Sylvester Stallone? Pretty cool, huh? And Sylvester Stallone has already praised the series. So who knows? Things like that could happen. Again, wild speculation. So Robana talking about Mike Barnes. He may have stayed in California after being stuck there with no money. I doubt Silver gave him money to fly back home. Either that or he's from Northern California. It's true. Though someone like, if he didn't have a lot of money, and I've speculated that maybe Mike Barnes did not have a lot of money back then, he might have found a way to get back, like maybe he took a bus or something like that. He seemed like kind of a resourceful guy that was pretty tough. So, but yeah, it's a good point. Maybe he stayed in California. Maybe he really didn't have much back at home either, and so he just kind of stayed there. It's possible. And yes, training montage. Absolutely. Wouldn't it be amazing to have a training montage with Johnny Lawrence and Sylvester Stallone? Wouldn't that be amazing? I think that'd be amazing. Let's see. Sasha David says, do you believe that there will be a student sensei male female division of Sekai Taikai? You have to rank highly everywhere to win the whole thing. As Miyagi Fang lacks a female sensei, enter Julie Pierce. Yes. And there might be a reason why Julie Pierce needs to be on that team. And it's possible that Daniel and Johnny may not be allowed to be participating senseis at the Sekai Taikai. And if you watch my story pitches for season 6 with Cobra Kai Kid this Friday, you might hear some of those reasons why. Jaws says, do you think you would get a great chemistry with Brett Ernst if you share a scene with him like you got with David Shatraw and Cobra Cole? Oh yeah, not saying that's going to happen, but yeah, just from meeting him, he's just such a great guy. He's so funny, and you can tell he's a student of all kinds of comedy. He's an amazing performer, and I think yeah, it would just be fun to even do anything with him, even on stage, do a scene or something like that. That would be a lot of fun. And yeah, he's fantastic. Brett Ernst is absolutely fantastic. Hassan says, hey Ken, long time no see. Any updates on the new season? Really, what we know is that we don't know, except we know that right now they're still writing it, and it's probably going to start shooting in May. We know that Hilary Swank has had her twins, which is wonderful. Congratulations. And that's kind of it. They're still writing it. None of the actors, from Peyton List that we saw earlier to Brett Ernst, who I saw in Vegas this past week, they don't know. They haven't gotten any word on what's happening with season 6 yet. So if they don't know, no one knows. So I think it's just the writers who know what might be happening. Clifford says, Ken Cole, do you think Kreese will reveal a signature move of his own? Because I think even sweep the leg came from Silver. It's really interesting. We saw them fight and study under Master Kim Sun Young, this Kreese and Terry Silver. And, apparently John Kreese won like #1 karate martial arts championship in the Army 3 years in a row, according to his picture, which some have doubted. But so he was really good in the Army. And we saw Terry Silver and John Kreese training under Kim Sun Young in South Korea. And Terry paid for that trip to go out there. Now, it's very possible. I wouldn't put it past Terry Silver that Terry kept going out to train with him, maybe even without John Kreese over the years, because something to note is in the original Karate Kid movies, you never really saw Kreese training. It seemed like he was happy to just settle into teaching. You never saw him training on his own. You never saw him sparring. Whereas in Karate Kid 3, the first thing you see out of Terry Silver is he is actively sparring against people. He is keeping up his martial arts fiercely. And so it almost seems like Terry is really kind of more connected, that he believes that style, the way of the fist, maybe helps him in his professional life as well. Whereas John Kreese maybe has settled more into teaching. So it's possible that Terry Silver has more advanced knowledge from Kim Sun-young. We don't know. This is all speculation, wild speculation. But maybe Kreese does have a signature move. It's really tough. Tough to know. Terry Silver said that he studied under Kim Sun-young and others. I don't know if Kreese continued his training ever since the war. It's kind of an interesting thing. What do you guys think? Do you think that's possible? Yeah, very, very interesting. Darian says, how do you feel about Kyler arc in season 6? Do you think he'll get redemption arc or stay evil? It's tough to know. It's, Kyler, man, he is such a good bad guy, isn't he? He's so good. He seems to have major attitude problems. It'd be nice if all these kids somehow come to an understanding or something, like maybe they're not quite as bad as we saw them, or we see them learn something or grow and develop. But at the same time, it's a lot of fun to just see these characters be evil. I think Kyler is one of them. He's kind of, maybe in some ways, not the brightest, but he's got like this amazing sort of bully attitude. He's one of the best bullies on the show, 100%. But yeah, who knows what happens after, the downfall of Terry Silver in season 5. I don't know. That's a really good question. For me, it's a question mark of what happens to all those kids who were part of Cobra Kai. Where did they go? They seem to be disenchanted with Terry Silver. Would they go back to Cobra Kai? If Terry Silver were out of the picture and Kim Da-eun was back in the picture, would they go back? Or are they just looking for some other new dojo or place to train? It's kind of an interesting question. I don't know. Who do you think will win the Sekai Taikai? Well, we'll need to see who's in it first. We don't know who's in it. We don't know the dojos they'll fight under. Will Cobra Kai be in it? Will it not be Cobra Kai? Will it be something else? Will Miyagi Fang be in it? But if so, who are the senseis? Will there be legal problems for Daniel Russo, Johnny Lawrence, Mike Barnes, and Chosen that might prevent them from being part of that? It's an interesting question. What could happen? Just, I think, expect the unexpected. That's what I would say. Robana says, thank you for being a channel member, Robana. I'm hoping that Cobra Kai won't be one of those shows that gives into fan service. No famous actors in there unless it is organic and fits into the story, not just to throw a character in there. So, Robana, I'm guessing that you weren't a huge fan of the Carrie Underwood singing at the All Valley. I liked it. I think some people, though, brought up the point. It seemed like, whoa, who is that? But it's possible. I think there's a point there. It's like famous actors might shatter the illusion a bit of the show, or they might steal the spotlight a bit. I can totally understand that. So we'll see. Yeah. The thing is with fan service, they do, I think the big three and all the writers and the entire production team do a great job in Cobra Kai of giving fans little nuggets, wonderful little nuggets, but it's never superficial. There's always a purpose to it. There's a storytelling purpose to it. It's not cynical because they love the show so much. So yeah, hopefully you're right. They will do it the right way. And I think if they bring in celebrities, hopefully they'll do it in a way that it makes sense for the story. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an amazing live stream. As I said, I'm looking forward to doing these maybe a bit more often. trying to get the schedule organized and the content schedule organized. But please, if you have any ideas, leave a comment down below the video in the permanent comment section. You can also, I'll throw this up here too. If you have any thoughts or questions, you can email me at heykencast@gmail.com. Love to hear from you if you have ideas. And I'll put up some polls on times where that might work best for you for streaming. We've done weekends, we've tried Saturdays, we've done Sundays, we've also done like Thursday evenings, at least here in the United States. And if those times work, let me know. I definitely I know that not everyone can be available right now. So I want to make sure that if you're watching this on the replay and you're not able to watch midday in the United States on the weekends, what's another time that works for you? And I'd love to hear, I love your comments in the live chat. It's wonderful to interact with you. Of course, thank you everyone for subscribing. If you are watching this right now and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button, notification bell. Not only does it help this channel, thank you so much, but it keeps you in the loop, so you'll be notified every time I put out a new video going forward ahead of the last season of Cobra Kai, and also with all these other movie discussions. Another thing, be sure to follow KenCast on your podcast app. It's now available as a podcast. If you enjoy it, go ahead, leave a 5-star review. That helps so much the podcast. So thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you hopefully later this week. We'll definitely be doing something with Drew the Cobra Kai Kid, where we're going to be doing the writer's room for season 6, which is going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that. And then we'll be doing lots of conversations. If there are things you want to talk about, I think we're going to have to at least do a show dedicated to the Super Mario Brothers movie, reaching back into the 80s and 90s. I think that's also very nostalgic for a lot of us. And hopefully a lot of you have had a chance to watch it by now, so we can have this nice discussion about that movie. But with what is remaining of your weekend, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you next time on KenCast. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.